So this program is about single level inheritance. Okay, so I can say like single level inheritance. Okay. Single level inheritance. So how we can identify the particular program belongs to single level inheritance or multi-level, multiple, hybrid or hierarchical means. So here you look at the number of classes present in this program. So this is one class, okay, and below that we have got one more class, okay. That means two classes are present here, okay. So we can call it as single level inheritance, and two classes are linked here. Okay. If it is not linked, we cannot call that as an inheritance concept. For example, if I don't write from this colon to the last word base, if I delete this thing, okay. Say for example, if I don't write this thing, so then two classes are not linked. So we can say both are independent. Okay, both are not dependent on each other. If I write class derived colon then public base. Okay, so if I write like this, then I can say derived class is linked with base class. Okay. So when we give the class name, so I can give the class name as base, that indicates base class, or parent, you can say parent class, okay, parent class or base class. And while giving class name for derived class, you can give the word derived itself. These are the general words. Generally we call base class and derived class. So general words only we can give like a class name, because those are correct valid identifiers. Okay. So when you give the class name, you should follow the identifier rules. Okay, so if you don't follow the identity rules, then whatever the class name you will give it will be wrong. It will show an error. Okay, so these are the general words, you can use it. Like for base class and derived class, we have like base class can be called as parent class, and derived class can be called as child class. Okay, child class. Okay. This way also can give. And one more name is there. Okay, in Java we will come across base class will be called as super class. Okay, and child class or derived class will be called as subclass. Okay, so in this way also you can give the name. So whatever it is. Now presently we have given the base and the derived. Okay. Let me go back to the class names base and derived, because we have used the same names in main function. Okay. And one more thing, so whatever the class names you give, so the same name should be followed in main function. Okay, so you cannot change the names. And while writing constructor also, so here I have written the constructor. Okay, now let me try to execute this program. See, before that, you just look at these things. So two functions are present in public section of the base class, and two functions are present in public section of the derived class. Okay, and these two classes are linked. Now what happens is, say whenever this program is executed, first you should see in which mode base class is inherited. Okay, in which mode base class inherits. So that is nothing but public mode. Okay, so we have three modes: private, public, and protected. Okay, so when it is inherited in public mode, so when it is inherited in public mode, what happens? So how we can think is, like while executing, okay, while executing, these two members of the class, these two members of the base class, that is public members of the base class. So we can think like it will come into the public section of the derived class. Okay. See, actually, while executing, that doesn't happen, but we have to understand like that. Then only we can understand the program. So in this, we can think like four functions belongs to derived class, two functions of base class, two functions of its own. Okay. So if we understand in this format, then for this line, we will not get any error, because see, OB is the object of derived, set is the function of. Now you can consider it is the function of derived only, so it will call. Okay. Now. See, in the program, actually, while executing, for our understanding purpose, I have said to add in this way, but normally it will call directly. Okay, you will come to know how it will call the function directly. Okay, even though object OB belongs to derived class, set function belongs to base class. You will come to know how it is called. So first time I will execute the program as a whole. Okay. Okay. See, output is, it's very simple. It will just display 1, 2, and the next line 3. Here, regarding output and calculations or logic, we will not think much, okay? Because nothing to be worried about that, okay? Output, logic, and calculations. Only thing is you should know how functions are called here. How set function, show function, derived constructor, show k function are called here. So we will try to execute line by line, okay? So especially when you execute this inheritance program, you have to execute line by line. Then only you can understand, okay? See, program execution starts from the main, okay? Then OB object is created. So OB object belongs to the derived class, okay? Because it belongs to derived class, it will call the constructor of the derived class. You just observe here how it will call the constructor of the derived class. So when program control now is in derived class constructor. So now it is called, okay? So inside that, okay, k is equals to x. So x value will be copied to k. See, about memory representation, I will show it in the Word document. Just you try to know here how program control is flowing from main function to the sub functions which are present inside the class. So after the working of constructor, it will again come back to the main function. Okay, clear screen. Okay, then now you see at this particular line, see OB object belongs to derived class, set function belongs to base class. Okay, it is not matching, right? OB object belongs to derived class, set function belongs to base class. But still it will call the function because we have inherited. It is linked. Derived class is linked with base class by public mode. So we have three modes to link a class: private mode, public mode, and protected mode. So in public mode, we have linked. So when you link through public mode, so whatever the public functions are present inside the base class, that you can access. Even though it is not matching, object is belonging to one class, function is belonging to another class, even though it is not matching, but you can access because derived class is inherited by base class. Okay. Now you see how program control will go to the base class. See here. So it is moving to the set function of base class. Okay. Now this starts working. Okay. Okay. This is the end of set function. Again, it will come back to the main function. So next line also same thing. OB object belongs to derived class. Show function belongs to base class. But still it can access. So in the comment you see access members of base class. Even though object is of one class and the function is of another class, it can access the function because we have linked through public mode. Okay. Now you see how it is calling. So it is going to the base class and inside that show function. Okay. So these two values are displayed. Okay. Okay. After that, here it is coming back to the main function. This line, it is not confusion because OB object belongs to derived class, show k function belongs to derived class only. Both belongs to derived class only. It is not at all a problem. So we'll call the show k function which is present in derived class. Okay. Okay. So that's the end of the program. Okay. I hope you people have understood. So once again, I will show you the tracing. You just keep observing the program control, how it will flow. Okay, starts from the main function. So object OB is created, which belongs to derived class. Okay, so derived constructor is called. Okay, then after the constructor, clear screen. Okay, then OB object belongs to derived class, set function belongs to base class. But still, the program control will move to the base class because it is linked through public mode. Okay, I will just observe here. That is the end of set function. Next, we will move to the show function, which is present in base class. Okay. Next, see, after that, next function is executed is show k function. So here, object OB belongs to derived class, show k function belongs to derived class. So it is not a confusion. So directly we move to the show k function, which is present in derived class. Okay. So that is the end of the program. Okay. In the next program, what we have done, mode we are changing. Inheritance mode from public to private. If you change from public to private, you should remember this. See, you should remember this diagram always. So this is for sure. Okay. Okay, till you complete inheritance chapter, and wherever you come across inheritance concept, if you remember this diagram, it will be very easy. See, when you inherit in private mode, what happens? You see, public members of base class will become private members of derived class. Protected members of base class will become private members of base class. Right now, what you try to understand is, you don't worry about protected members. Just you think of public members. So public members of base class will become the private members of derived class. If that is the case, okay, if that is the case, now how you have to think is, these two functions, okay, see, these two functions, we can think like it will be in private section of the derived class. See, if I don't write anything, so it will be private by default. Okay, if you don't mention anything, it will be private. That concept we know. So if you feel confusion, you can write it as private. If you're not getting whether it is private or public expression, you can write it as public. So these two functions will not come into the public section. So we can think like it will come and sit into the private section. So if it is in private section, see, anything, any data member or a function or any member of a class, if it is in private section, this point to remember, if it is in private section, you cannot access outside the class. Outside the class means in main function you cannot access. See here. So only ob.set of 1, 2, ob.show, for these two lines will get error. Because in the previous example, in the previous program, when we have written ob.set of 1, 2, ob.show, we were not getting error because these two functions were present in the public section of the derived class. In this way we have understood, correct? Because this mode was public. So if this mode is public, then you can think like this. So these two functions come and sit into the public mode. So if it is in public mode, then will not get error at this line, because public data members or public member function can be accessed throughout the program. Okay, public data members or public member functions can be accessed throughout the program. Will not get any error. But if you write, that is, if you change from public to private access specifier, that is inheritance mode. If you change from public to private, then you should think like this. So it will come and sit into the private section. If it is in private section, you cannot access in the main function. So you'll get error. So that also we will see in the program. Okay. So because you should know what error message it will display. Okay. So I will share that. Okay. Now I will change it. How you will come to know where we have to change at this line. Class derived public base. Okay. Okay. So we will change this to, instead of public mode, I will change it to private mode. So if we change it to private mode, how we have to understand this? Like, actually internally it doesn't happen like it, but for our understanding purpose we can think like it. That is these two functions. Okay, you can think like it will come and sit into the private section. Okay, so if we don't write anything, by default it will be considered as private section. Okay, so if it is in private section, at these two lines we will get error. Okay, that is ob.show, ob.set. So I will execute and show you how we will get an error. So before that I will delete this line. Just for your understanding purpose, I have written these two lines. Okay, so set function and show function will come and sit into the private section. Now let me delete these lines. So I will try to execute the program. You just see. See, when you execute the program, if you are sure that this program will show error, then first compile, because when you compile it, it will show the error. Always there are two steps in execution of program. Compile means Alt plus F9, which will show the errors. If there are any errors, it will show the errors, or if there are no errors, error 0, warning 0, successful. Okay. And if you want to execute, you can go for Control F9. Okay, Alt F9 to show the errors, that is to compile the program. Control F9 to execute the program. Now look at the error message. See, errors 2. Okay, warning, there are no warnings, but errors 2. You just look at the message, what error message it is displaying. Okay, see, it will display along with line number 35. Program is s underscore inherit.cpp. See, when you notice the error, it will show the line number, program, that is file name, along with that error message. See, here we are executing only one program, so you know the program number and line number, everything. But when you are doing the project, okay, you will be having multiple files. So in that case, you have to observe the line number, file name, both. Okay, so only we should understand it. File name is s underscore inherit.cpp. Okay, line number is 35. In that, you notice this error. What is that error? You will see in red mark it is there highlighted. Scope resolution operator is displayed. Set of int comma int. That means function. It is function. Set function is not accessible. Not accessible means whatever the line you have written here, you cannot write like that. You'll get error at this line. So only it is saying not accessible. Set of int comma int is not accessible. Similarly, for show function also it will show. See here. One more. Okay. Show function. So if they are giving parenthesis means it is nothing but function. Okay. So s underscore inherit.cpp is the file name. 36th line. In that ob.show is there. show parenthesis is not accessible. Not accessible means you cannot use this line in this main function because we have inherited in private mode. Okay. So you cannot execute this program. Only thing is, only we have to notice the error in there. That's all. To solve the error, we should make it as public mode. That's all, nothing else. Okay. So this is one error. Set of int comma int is not accessible. Okay. So one more error message is show is not accessible. Okay. Now if I change this mode to public, so that error is solved. See, if I change to public, that error is solved. You just notice here, not get any error. See, error 0, warning 0. Success. Press any key to execute. Okay. Understood? Fine. When a base class access specifier is private, public and protected members of the base class become private members of the derived class. Okay, what they are telling is, when a base class access specifier is private, public and protected members of the base class become private members of the base class. This is nothing but in this diagram, first one. Okay. So I said everything is present in this diagram only. Only you have to remember this diagram in your mind. Okay. When a base class is inherited in private mode, public members and protected members of the base class will become the private members of the derived class. In sentence they have said. I have written in diagram. In sentence they are telling. That's all. Public and protected members of the base class will become the private members of the base class. Next thing, what happens if that is the case? Okay, if that is the case, what happens? In the next sentence, they are telling. Okay, this means that they are still accessible by members of the derived class, but cannot be accessed by any other part of the program that is not members of either the base class or the derived class. The meaning of that is, whenever you consider the private data and functions, they are accessed only within the class or members of the class, not outside the class. In that way, how to understand? Accessed only within the class or the members of the class, not outside the class. In the above example, outside the class means what? In the main function, we are trying to access, which is not possible. Okay, that only they are telling. You cannot access outside the class. That means any other part of the program means which doesn't belongs to class. So main function doesn't belongs to class, right? It is not a member function of class. It is separate function. So we cannot say main function is a member function of a class. It is separate function. So you cannot access in these functions. Like main functions, you cannot access. That only they are telling in the sentence. Okay. Now we will move to the inheritance and protected members. Okay, this is very important. Till now we have discussed about inheritance with public members and private members. Now we will go for the protected members. Okay. See, when we have discussed about classes and objects, we have come across 3 access specifiers: private, public, and protected. Okay. There, I think I have said, so about protected members, when we go to the inheritance chapter, there only we can understand. Okay. Because when you consider only one class, remember this point, when you consider only one class, that is without inheritance, private and protected members behaves same. There is no difference between private data members and protected data members if it is only one class. If we consider more than one class and inheritance concept, then there will be difference between private data members and protected data members. Okay, once again I will tell you, if we consider only one class, okay, private and protected data members or functions will be same. There is no difference in the properties of private data members and protected data members if there is only one class. If we consider two classes, two or more classes, and if they are linked by the concept of inheritance, then private members and protected members will behave differently. So that we will see here. Okay. You observe these sentences. When a member of a class is declared as protected, see, member of a class means either it can be data member or a member function. In general, we have to call it as member. Either it can be data member or a member function. If it is declared as protected, that member is accessible only by other members of its class. That member is accessible only by other members of its class. So this I will explain for you. Okay. Just a minute. For the arrow mark, I have written the word public. Okay, you just see that. So in this case, public members of the base class will become the public members of the derived class. Protected members of the base class will become the protected members of the derived class. So here you concentrate on this, that is about protected, because we have to deal with protected data member now. Because about public data member we came to know in the first program only. Now we have to deal with protected data member. So protected member of the base class will become the protected member of the derived class. Okay, this arrow mark you remember. Okay, now we will go to the concept. So what they are telling, when a base class is inherited as public, the base class protected members become the protected members of the derived